Sony has just released a new lens not too long ago, the 50 1.4 G Master. And by all accounts, by all metrics, I'm not purchasing that lens, and I probably won't purchase another GM lens again. What's up, y'all? My name is Mack. I am a destination wedding and event photographer based in Chicago, Illinois. I travel all the time. I'm always out and about. As a matter of fact, I'll be in DC this weekend for a wedding. Super excited about that. Love the DC area. So, yeah, but you know, I really wanted to jump into this topic today because when I first heard the news that Sony was coming out with the 50 1.4 G Master, and they also already have a 50 1.2 G Master, I was really upset that that was the case. With 1.2 and 1.4, we're splitting hairs. Not only will you not be able to tell a difference at face value if something is a 1.2 and a 1.4, but the lens is still expensive. It's still very expensive. And I have to ask myself, like, you know, with these G Master lenses, be it the 24-70, be it the 70-200, the 24-14, the 85-14, the 50-12, and now the 50 1.4, is it really worth the money? With, you know, I understand they have certain features. I understand optically there's some of the best lenses on the market, but are they really truly worth that much more than, say, your 85 1.8, your 35 1.8, or even your 50 1.8? And I have to tell you, I've used the 85 1.8 a lot. That was one of the lenses that helped, I believe, catapult some of my photography, especially early on, trying to achieve that portrait look, you know, the background separation, the depth of field. So it's hard for me to fathom the idea that there's a lens out there with the same focal length that instead of being a 1.8 is a 1.4, yet it is what, $1,000 more? I don't know. I really think that these lenses, I dare say, are overpriced. I can't really recommend them. And you may feel like it's hypocritical because you have GM lenses. I do. I have a 24-70 Mark II and I have a 70-200. I could have easily kept, because I've owned these lenses at a certain point in time, the Tamron 70-180, as well as the 28-75 from Tamron. Great lenses. I can't really say too much bad about those lenses. They were priced fairly, at least, you know, in my opinion. I think that everything that they offered with the price, the value was there, and the image quality. You know, the image quality coming out of the Tamron lenses rivals a lot of Sony glass. So why did I sell it? I'm gonna tell you why. I drank the KoolAid. I drank the YouTube KoolAid. You know, the YouTube KoolAid, where YouTubers, they promote gear, they entice you to buy the new, the latest, and the greatest, and they do camera reviews and say that the camera that you previously had is not up to par. It's not it anymore. So therefore, you have to buy something else. And, you know, I get it. Like, you know, they're getting gear kind of just funneled to them by Sony, Nikon, Canon, Fuji, Leica, etc. And they get to keep it. And in some cases they don't, but they're still in favor. They're still in the favor of those brands. And the problem is, we get so caught up in those videos, in those reviews, we go down a rabbit hole to the point where we may have, because this was me, I had the Zeiss 55 1.8, probably my favorite lens ever. I captured some of the most dynamic images with that lens. I've shot whole weddings with, you know, mainly using that lens. Why did I sell it? Because I felt that in order to be the best, to be recognized as the best, I have to have the most expensive. And, you know, I obviously take accountability for the fact that no one forced me to buy anything, but I was enticed. I was persuaded. I was led astray. And I ended up selling the Zeiss lens that had got me so far in order to get a lens that was sought after by a lot of people and was made to be the lens. Like, you have to have, it's a 1.2, and getting the most expensive 50mm lens at that time, and still is for Sony, I felt that, man, now my images are really, that I'm really gonna be good now. Like, I'm good, but man, once I get that lens, like, my photos are gonna like skyrocket, and they did not. It was pretty much the same type of thing. Which leads me to the fact that I shot a whole wedding with the 50 1.8 from Sony. Now, honestly, that lens is not built like a tank. It's actually built like something that I would find in a third grade classroom. It's plastic. It feels as though if you drop it, it's a wrap. However, one of the things that I found to be very interesting is, instead of using my Zeiss lens, and I did purchase the 50 1.2, ended up selling it, getting my Zeiss back because I just couldn't really justify the price. But my friend has the 50 1.8, and I just want to borrow it. So some of these images that you're seeing right now in this moment were taken with the 50 1.8 from Sony. Very budget friendly. That's the budget nifty 50. And the images, I couldn't tell the difference between the image quality from my Zeiss to the 50 1.8. And I think we're splitting hairs when we have photos that were taken at such wide open apertures, and we truly believe that our couples are going to tell the difference between a 1.4, 1.8, a 1.2, and a 1.8. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a difference between a 1.2 and a 1.8. However, when we get into some of the fine print details, you know, the stuff that YouTubers have to zoom in 500% to notice the corner sharpness isn't as sharp, or yeah, the chromatic aberration here, I could see it. That doesn't, I don't care. I literally, honestly, in all transparency, I don't care. And I don't think we should care, because, come here, let me, our couples do not care. They want moments. Of course they want beautiful image quality, but I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Pairing this 50 1.8 with any Sony full frame mirrorless camera that has been released in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years, it's gonna produce great image quality. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna operate well in low light. Some people may argue, yeah, but the autofocus is the autofocus. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The autofocus is good. I took pictures of a couple who were dancing, moving, who were walking towards me back and forth. It was fine. It was perfectly fine. I didn't miss many shots. And like I said, my Zeiss, which has been a workhorse for me for so many years, the autofocus is great. It doesn't give you that pulsing, like trying to figure out what's in focus, what's not in focus. And I'm solely speaking on photography. Video, that's a whole nother video. But let's stop going out and spending thousands of dollars on lenses that perform very similar to their cheaper or more budget-friendly counterparts. It's not about the GM that's on the side of the lens. It's not about, you know, how much money you put down on that camera. It's about your ability to understand the camera and the functions and the limitations that you will have with your gear that matters, but not necessarily buying the most expensive gear in order to be propelled, or your work to be catapulted, or for you to be recognized as the best, because you're only going to be the best when you understand your camera and your gear better than anyone else. I appreciate you all. If you made it through this far, leaving a comment below that you made it through, because you're a real one. If you liked the video, then like the video and don't forget to sub and show some love to the channel. Until next time, I'll catch you all in the next video.